They say life slows down after 65, but what they don't tell you is how loud that stillness can feel when you've spent a lifetime rushing. For decades, we wake up to alarms, rushing to get dressed, gulping down coffee, chasing deadlines, shuttling kids, answering phones. We say one day I'll slow down, like peace is a destination we'll arrive at once we retire. But when that day finally comes, and the noise quiet, that's what happened to George. He's 74 now, living just outside Traverse City, Michigan. Retired accountant, a man of habits and order. For 42 years, George had the same morning. Up at 5:30, black coffee at 5:35. On the road by 6:15. Every day, no room for pause. After retirement, his mornings were wide open. For the first time in decades, no clients to call, no emails to return, just the soft ticking of a clock and the hum of a refrigerator. At first, he loved it, but slowly that stillness started to feel like weight. He said to me once, "It's strange, I thought freedom would feel like flying, but some mornings it just felt like falling, with nothing to grab onto." And that's when his daughter stepped in. A nurse full of practical compassion. She said, "Dad, your body's still waking up every morning expecting to work. If you don't give it something gentle and purposeful, it'll just spiral." So she gave him a simple challenge, not a new diet, not a new workout, just this: build a morning that heals you instead of hurrying you. That's what today's story is about, the quiet healing of mornings after 65. You see, research from the National Institutes on Aging shows that seniors who create structure in the first hour of their day, structure rooted in calmness, light, activity, and nourishment, report better sleep, sharper memory, and lower rates of depression. Not from grand gestures, just from daily consistent rhythm. That's why here at Elderly Reflections, we don't talk about routines as chores. We talk about them as healing tools, rituals of restoration. And today, I want to share two habits, just two simple, powerful habits that you can begin tomorrow morning. They're backed by science, wrapped in real-life stories, and steeped in something deeper than wellness trends. They are grounded in the kind of elderly wisdom you don't find in textbooks, but in quiet homes, handwritten journals, and the peaceful eyes of someone who's lived long enough to know what truly matters. Let's begin with habit number one, the window and the warm drink. George's daughter didn't give him a workout plan. She gave him a chair. She placed it by the east-facing window in his kitchen and told him to sit there each morning for 10 minutes, with a cup of warm lemon water in his hand. That's it. No phone, no news, no pressure, just breath, light, warmth. She called it a morning anchor, and it worked. Within 2 weeks, George reported feeling calmer, his appetite returned, his mind didn't race as much. But this isn't just about feeling good. Warm lemon water, according to Cleveland Clinic research, improves digestion, helps flush out toxins, boosts hydration, and even supports gentle liver function after a night's rest. But more than that, it creates pause. And that pause is healing. George told me, "I used to think healing came from pills, but maybe it starts with moments like this. Just me, the sun, and the sound of the morning waking up." That's powerful. And you can do it too. Just pour warm, not hot, water into your favorite mug. Add a slice or squeeze of fresh lemon and sit. Let your body know the day has begun. But we're starting slow. We're starting with care. After all, the body listens to how we begin. A calm morning tells your nervous system you're safe, you're cared for, you're not alone. Now let's talk about habit number two, move before the mind wakes up. I know that sounds backwards, but let me explain. Teresa, a 69-year-old widow living in a coastal town in Ireland, struggled with anxiety every morning. She'd wake up with a racing heart, restless thoughts, and a tightness in her chest that made it hard to breathe. Her doctor could have prescribed medication. Instead, he asked her to move her body within 15 minutes of waking. Nothing intense, just movement. So every morning, Teresa slipped on her walking shoes and walked barefoot through her small backyard garden. 5 minutes, sometimes 10, always before breakfast, always before checking the news or reading messages. Within 1 month, the changes were real. Her blood pressure dropped, her sleep deepened, her mind felt lighter, and her morning dread faded. She said, "I stopped waking up afraid of the day. I started waking up curious, and here's why that works. Our bodies release cortisol in the morning to wake us up. But for seniors, that cortisol spike can be overwhelming if not balanced with gentle motion. Studies from Johns Hopkins confirm this. Light morning movement helps regulate cortisol, improve blood flow, and awaken the brain in a calm, stable way. You don't need to jog. You don't need to stretch deeply. Just walk a hallway, step onto your porch, Stretch your arms by the sink. You're not exercising for vanity. You're moving to tell your body, we're alive today. Let's greet this life with grace. Elderly wisdom reminds us that motion isn't just medicine, it's memory. When you move your body, you tell your spirit, I'm still here, I'm still trying, and that's enough. So now we've walked through two simple yet powerful ways to reclaim your mornings after 65. One begins in stillness, the other in motion. One warms the body with hydration, the other with gentle steps. Together they tell your nervous system and your heart, we're not rushing anymore, we're rising. And the truth is, mornings like this don't just improve your day, they protect your dignity, they rebuild your peace, they become rituals of quiet independence. The kind that keep your mind clear, your heart strong, and your soul rooted. You don't need a perfect routine. You don't need expensive programs. You just need a chair by the window and a reason to rise with intention. Before we go any further, I'd love to know where you're tuning in from. Whether it's a quiet corner of Canada, a sunny spot in Florida, or somewhere peaceful in Europe, your presence here matters. Are you in the United States, the UK, Canada, maybe somewhere in Europe? Leave a comment below. I'd love to know your city, your background, your morning. Because you're not alone in this. There's a whole community of us here on Elderly Reflections, rediscovering what it means to live with motivation, calm, and purpose. If you found value in this part, I invite you to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell so you never miss our next story. Because every week we bring you science-backed, heart-led conversations grounded in elderly wisdom and built for real-life change. Next, we'll explore two more gentle habits, simple yet powerful, that can sharpen your memory, protect your joints, and infuse your mornings with a deeper sense of meaning. So, stay with us, because your story, it's not done. It's just starting a new chapter. When was the last time you woke up and truly felt like your mind was sharp and your body was ready? Not just awake, but balanced, grounded, and gently optimistic about the day ahead. After 65, those mornings can feel rare, but they don't have to be. What we do in the first hour of the day can either fog up the brain or clear it. It can either heighten stress or set the tone for peace. Which brings us to the next chapter, one woven with quiet significance, because the two habits we're about to uncover aren't dramatic, expensive, or complicated. They're quiet and powerful and backed by science. They build something you might have thought was fading: mental clarity, emotional steadiness, and even joy. Let me introduce you to a woman named Jeanette. She's 82, lives alone in a cottage in rural Oregon. Used to be a school librarian, still reads 3 books a week, but a year ago she told me something that stopped me in my tracks. She said, "It's not my body that makes me feel old, it's my forgetfulness." She had started losing names mid-sentence, misplacing keys, repeating herself to her son, on the phone without realizing it, and worse, she stopped trusting herself. She said it felt like her confidence was slipping through her fingers. But instead of giving up, she did something most people wouldn't expect. She changed her breakfast. That brings us to habit number 3, start the morning with brain food, especially berries. Jeanette began every morning with a small bowl of blueberries. That's it. No sugar, no cereal, no yogurt, just pure antioxidant-rich berries. And in just 1 month, she noticed something profound. Her thoughts felt quicker, her mood improved, and she wasn't losing her words the way she used to. She said, "It's like my brain stopped yelling and started whispering again. I could finally hear myself think." There's real science behind this. Blueberries are packed with anthocyanins, natural compounds proven to enhance memory and slow brain aging. A 2016 study from the University of Exeter found that seniors who consumed blueberries daily showed better brain activity in regions responsible for decision-making and focus. Not only that, but blueberries improve blood flow to the brain, reduce oxidative stress, and support neuron communication, all of which are essential for keeping the mind sharp after 65. And here's what's important, it's not about quantity. You don't need a giant smoothie or fancy recipes, just a small handful, maybe a quarter cup, is enough. You can have them fresh or frozen, on a plate, with your tea in silence, because sometimes food is more than fuel. It's a message to your body that says, I haven't given up on you. That's what elderly wisdom teaches us. Consistency beats intensity, and healing doesn't always look like medicine. It sometimes looks like a bowl of berries, eaten slowly by the window. Now let's talk about something even more surprising, something so small, most people ignore it. Habit number 4, a touch of writing. Every morning, just one line, This might sound too simple to be useful, but stay with me. We all know that journaling is good for the mind, but after 65, it does something deeper. It helps protect emotional health, support memory, and reconnect you to purpose. Why? Because writing, even just a few words, activates the prefrontal cortex, the area of the brain responsible for self-awareness, focus, and emotional regulation. And even more importantly, it gives your day a direction. Let me tell you about Robert, a 77-year-old widower from Alberta, Canada. Lost his wife to cancer 3 years ago. Every morning used to feel empty. He told me I'd sit at the table and just stare at my coffee, like the world had no instructions for me anymore. Then his grandson gave him a leather-bound notebook and said, "Grandpa, write one thing down every morning. Just one, something you're grateful for, or something you're hoping for." At first, Robert resisted, but one morning he picked up the pen and wrote, "The coffee smells nice today, that's it." But it cracked something open. The next day he wrote, "The neighbor waved, I felt seen." A week later, I remembered Mom's oatmeal recipe. That small act of reflection became his compass. He said it gave my mornings a soul again. And now, 3 years later, he has a shelf full of notebooks. His memory's stronger, his mood is lighter, and his mornings feel meaningful again. Studies from the University of Texas show that expressive writing helps reduce stress hormones, strengthen immune function, and improve long-term memory. Just record one honest moment from your morning. The sunlight hit my hands. I'm still breathing. I miss someone today. That's elderly reflection. And it's one of the most profound forms of self-care. Because here's the truth. In a world that constantly tells seniors they're fading, this simple act of writing tells you the opposite. That you are still here. That your voice still matters. That your story is still unfolding. So now we've added 2 more tools to your morning. A handful of blueberries for your brain, and a handwritten thought to bring back meaning. They don't require noise, they don't demand effort, they only ask for presence. And presence, my friend, is what keeps us young. Not in years, but in soul. As we near the end of this segment, I want to know your thoughts. What's your morning like these days? Are you someone who rises with purpose, or are you still figuring it out? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to tell me where you're watching from. Whether it's the US, the UK, Europe, or somewhere unexpected. I want to know, because this channel isn't just about information, it's about connection. So if you haven't already, I invite you to like this video, subscribe to Elderly Reflections, and turn on the bell so you never miss these weekly moments of motivation, inspiration, and life lessons from the elderly who've lived through storms and still know how to rise. What's next is where everything finds its place: clarity, purpose, and quiet power. You'll learn how to create a full morning rhythm without overwhelm, how to avoid the common mistakes that steal your peace, and how to claim your mornings as sacred ground for healing. Because your time is precious, and your mornings, there's something sacred about the early hours, when the world hasn't quite woken up yet, and the sky is still deciding what color to wear. For many seniors, that's the quietest part of the day, and if you listen closely, that silence has something to say. It says, you're still here. You've made it. Now what will you do with this gentle gift of time? You see, we often talk about aging in terms of loss, fewer responsibilities, less noise, fewer people around. But what if we told this story differently? What if the morning hours after 65 weren't the leftovers, but the beginning of something wiser, deeper, and more powerful than before? It began by anchoring the day with light and warmth, sitting near a window, sipping lemon water, greeting the morning with breath instead of burden. Then we added 2 quiet but powerful layers, a handful of blueberries to nourish the mind, and a single, honest line of writing to restore meaning. And now let's gently gather these pieces and see how they come together into a morning rhythm that heals body, mind, and spirit. Because a morning routine isn't just a checklist, it's a signal to your body, your brain, your soul, that you still belong to the rhythm of life, that you are still part of the dance. Let's begin with the most overlooked element: timing. Your body is not a machine, but it does have a clock, a circadian rhythm that thrives on consistency. According to Harvard Medical School, adults over 65 who wake and eat at regular times each day report significantly higher energy, better digestion, and more stable moods. It's not about waking up early. It's about waking up with purpose. So whether you rise at 6 a.m. or 8:30, try to keep it consistent. Wake at the same time, eat at the same time. You're not being rigid, you're building trust within your body. And that trust shows up in how steady your heart feels, how well your memory works, and even how deeply you sleep at night. Next comes portion and pace. Many seniors unknowingly sabotage their mornings by eating too fast or too much. But after 65, digestion slows, and our bodies can become sensitive to large meals or sudden spikes in blood sugar. That's why experts from the Mayo Clinic suggest starting the day with light, balanced nourishment. Not a heavy breakfast, just enough to activate the metabolism without overwhelming it. Think a boiled egg with avocado, a small bowl of oatmeal with berries, or Greek yogurt with a spoon of honey. And here's something rarely talked about: chewing slowly. That simple act of slowing your eating sends signals to your brain that say, "I'm safe." It lowers cortisol, improves digestion, and reduces bloating. So the next time you sit to eat, don't rush. Let it be a sacred act. You're practicing dignity. And now, a truth many seniors need to hear: what to avoid in the morning. Because peace isn't just built by what you do, it's also protected by what you say no to. The number one peace stealer? A study from the University of Pennsylvania found that seniors who began their day with screen time had elevated stress levels and reduced focus for the rest of the day. So protect your peace. Make the first hour a media-free zone. Light a candle, water your plants, read a poem, let the world wait, because nothing is more urgent than your well-being. Another common trap: cold, lonely mornings. Not just physically cold, but emotionally. Seniors living alone often skip breakfast, avoid morning movement, or stay in bed too long because the day feels purposeless. But here's where ritual becomes your anchor. Build something simple to look forward to. Maybe it's lighting incense. Maybe it's feeding the birds. Maybe it's a short call with someone who makes you smile. Give your morning shape, because shape gives us strength. Let me tell you one final story. Her name was Eleanor, 86 years old, living in Minnesota. Widowed, children grown and gone, her morning used to be silent, and she told me it felt like waking into a fog. Until one day her caregiver suggested something beautiful. They called it her morning table. It was just a small wooden tray with 4 items: a thermos of warm turmeric milk, a bowl of blueberries, a notebook, and a photo of her husband from their first summer together. Every morning she would sit at the window, take a sip, write one line, look at the photo, and whisper, "Thank you." That became her sacred start. And she said something I'll never forget: "I may be alone now, but I start each day in love." That's the power of intention. That's the inspiration that still lives in your story. That's the motivation that doesn't shout, but whispers gently through routine. So here's your simple rhythm to remember. Wake with consistency, sip something warm, move with kindness, eat with care, write with honesty, and protect your peace from noise. These 6 steps don't take hours, but they can add years of strength, clarity, and purpose. That's what Elderly Reflections are all about. Listening to the quiet parts of life that still have something to teach us. So as you rise tomorrow, ask yourself this: what kind of morning do I want to live into? What message do I want to send to my heart, my memory, my energy? Will I start my day reacting or reflecting? And before you go, I want to invite you to do 2 things. First, leave a comment below and tell me, where are you watching from? I mean it. Whether you're in the US, Ireland, Germany, or Brazil, I'd love to know, because your story matters here. And second, if this video brought something meaningful to you, please like, subscribe, and turn on the bell. That helps us grow a family rooted in wisdom, clarity, and dignity, and help someone else, just like you, find their morning again. Because here on Elderly Reflections, we don't believe life ends at retirement. We believe that senior health, elderly wisdom, and gentle life lessons still have the power to shape each sunrise. So here's to your next morning. May it be simple, may it be healing, and may it remind you the best part of your story is still being written.